Happy New Year! 2020 was damn, man. It was really, really depressing for most parts, man. But one of the few good things about this particular year was the high volume of quality music that was released. The pandemic just couldn't stop most of our favorite artists, man. They were on fire. So I compiled a list of my favorite 20 albums of 2020, and it was hard, man. They are more than 20 dope albums in the particular year. They are more than 100 itself. But it is what it is, man. I didn't want to bore y'all with a super long list, so I hope y'all enjoy it. Two albums share the 20th position. Firstly, I have Bull of the Boobless. Sorry, I meant Bull of the Boobless by Chike. I like his Daniel, man, and I know this album had a similar concept with his King of Love album, but this was just a better and simpler version of King of Love. Like, damn, man, God just give everybody everything, man. The guy in a fine boy, no homo, man. You get nice voice. Like, if this guy calling my babe, man, I'm not gonna even vex immediately. Second album at number 20 is The Sharecropper's Daughter by Sarok. I became a fan after this album, man. Like, she really, really can rap. Like, I like how bold and revolutionary she sounded on this album. A woman with true substance, man. At 19, I have From King to God by Conway the Machine. I used to think Jay-Z reminded me the most of the late Biggie Smalls till I started listening to Conway, man. Like the calmness and dark wit, the way they both pronounce with swollen tongues, or like there's too much saliva in their mouth, plus how organized but raw his rapping was. It reminded me of Ready to Die Biggie the most. I also like how the Griselda camp are now touching other topics now, apart from coke rap. Like imagine Conway the Machine talking about police brutality. At 18, I've got Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen One by Kid Cudi. Man, I fell in love with this album like immediately I heard it, man. Like Cudi's music will always be special for me personally because of the peaceful way he tackles depression. There's just this release of negative energy you get listening to his music, and the way he creates his melodies is still unique in hip hop. At 17, I have Capre Diem by Olamide. I never expected Olamide to transition to singing this well. Like it feels like he took a lot of pages out of Fireboy DML in style on this album. Though the album is safer in sound but with better lyricism. Primarily he's a rapper, duh. But on a serious note, it's a very dope effort. A lot of hits without compromising the cohesiveness of the album. At number 16, I have After Hours by The Weeknd. A pop star, a radio-friendly monster with this quality album. Like, how did he not get a Grammy nomination, man? How? Like, sometimes I wonder what they smoke over there in the Grammys, man. Like, The Weeknd, he's really special with moodiness and how he transmits pain. He proved it here again. Easily his most cohesive body of work. Number 15, Pray for Paris by West Side Gun. Another album that I think will age really well. Like if there ever was anything called branding gangster rap or branding coke rap, this album is it. Like West Side Gun really put the pieces brilliantly, just like a piece of art. Number 14. I've got Apollo. I've got Apollo by Fireboy D. Fireboy, he's really a soft brother, man, and I like the fact that he's unapologetic about it. A lot of people expected Unreal Things before this album came out. Some people expected him to create another Laughter, Tears, and Goosebumps album. A few others too. They expected him to flop and contract the second album syndrome. But guess what, man? He disappointed all of them, man. I honestly think this album was on the same level as Laughter, Tears, and Goosebumps. A little bit superior in its diversity of sound, but inferior in how concise and poignant it is. So, whichever one you choose or whichever one you prefer, there's really no bad answer, to be honest. Hmm? At number 13, I've got Evolution by Joyner Lucas, man. How the media didn't talk about this album more, man. Like, yes, people love to see people that go against the grain fail, man. I really like this album, man. A solid, very, very consistent storyline. I liked how clear the message was, like simple in concept and charisma, which was the blessing, but also a bit of the curse. Why I said it was a bit of the curse is that I know Jonah Lucas can push himself creatively so much more. Like a lot of us know that, man. But because of how lukewarm ADHD was received, I didn't think ADHD was a bad album, but I felt it was disappointing too, Sha. But with the lukewarm way ADHD was received, it made him not to tread strange waters again or to be creatively open. Let me just use that word. But other than that, there was really no major flaw in my opinion, man. This was a very, very good album. Welcome back to Form, Joanna. Look at number 12. I've got Afro Pop Volume 1 by Adekunle Gold. This was another very, very solid body of work, man. Like the production and singing was seamless on this album. I liked how he blended pop music from Africa and Europe. It was really, really next level, man. Like even without the greatest content on this album, I ate it to pieces, man. It was aesthetically. At number 11, I've got Made in Lagos by Wizkid, man. I've got Made in Lagos by unbothered and really, really peaceful body of work. Like this album is strongly personified Wizkid's personality in real life. Plus, I also like how he put the pieces together feature-wise. Like sonically, it was excellent, man. Nothing was forced. This was a really, really enjoyable album for the Free Spirit, and this is definitely my best Wizkid album. At number 10, I've got King's Disease by Nas. I was so impressed with this album when it came out because, like, I thought Nas was finished at the top of the rap game after a relatively disappointing decade by his otherworldly high standards. But I have to say, he proved me wrong on this album, man. Like, most of the things that made him beloved are still present, though he's aged in some things. Great content. At number 9, I've got Circles by Mac Miller. Like, listening to this album, it gives me mixed feelings, man. Why I said it gives me mixed feelings, I'll explain why. Sad because hip hop lost a really peaceful brother who couldn't kill his demons and tried to seek for help in overcoming depression before his untimely demise. I'm happy because he left us with this brilliant piece of art, man, which I feel is definitely his best work. Just imagine if he grew in this time, man. Just imagine. At number 8, I've got Descendants of Cain by K.A. For you to really appreciate this album, like your roots have to be really, really deep in hip hop, to be honest. Like it requires a certain mood for you to properly grasp the art of this classic. On this album, K.A. whispers like your conscience, man. Maybe the versatility of his flow might be a bit short-handed. Like just imagine like someone like Kendrick said the exact words that he said on this album, he might have gotten a 5.0. But the concept of the content and lyricism here was just out of this world, man. At number 7, I've got Streams of Thought by Black Thought, Volume 3. Streams of Thought, Volume 3. Like for Black Thought to still be rapping this sharp as an OG is unheard of, man. Like his consciousness, lyricism, and delivery is still at a good level. This is another classic, man. At number 6, I've got Burden of Proof by Benny the Butcher. The album was Benny's introduction to the mainstream, like rapping on beats that appealed to a larger demographic, and it was brilliant, man. Like Benny is coming for the crown, folks. Still waiting for that Freddie Gibbs collab though. At number five, I've got As God Intended by Apollo Brown and Shinoa. So Apollo Brown was the producer, Shinoa was the rapper. A lot of rappers really put the city of Buffalo on the map this year. Like there was a lot of quality, dope, drug gangster rap that came out of that place. But what made Shinoa to stand out was the different topic she rapped about. Like nobody from that city that I've heard can fuck with her content, man. She's the female Skyzo. This classic, I'll call it a classic, man. It was refined and it was relatable. And where she talks about survival, racism, wisdom and logic, emotions, mistake, just living as an everyday person in the city of Buffalo, man. And it still sounds really, really, really hard, man. Excellent storytelling. I love this Scarface and Ghostface killer loops. There was even loops from this movie, Love and Basketball. Very, very old movie like this. I feel Shenoa, she has the potential to rival Rhapsody for the best female rapper in the near future. Maybe in like 2 years, you'll see the comparison will start. If she continues on this path, of course. The only problem, not that I really have a problem personally, because her flow is fire. I just feel that her flow is a little bit monotonous. Like I wish she switched it up more. But apart from that, man, I can't really say anything bad about this album, man. It was a classic, and Apollo Brown was excellent behind the boards, man. At number four, I've got Act Two, Patents of Nobility by J Electronica. For people that say that J Electronica hasn't lived up to his music potential, man, I've got a question for you, man. In Jay-Z's words, of course. Do you listen to music or do you just skim through it? Like if you're a J Electronica fan, you know that he approaches his songs as an unwavering, seamless, controversial, cryptic, spiteful, poetic storyteller. Almost everything I wanted from a J Elect album was here. Time will tell if it's better than a written testimony. But man, this sounds like a classic to me. At number three, I've got Seven Times Down, Eight Times Up by Elza. Lyricism and flow. Elza is a juggernaut, man. Like Elza is one of those guys that silently makes most of your favorite rappers look amateur. But we are not ready to talk about that today. Today now for celebration. Like Elza mastered the 90s rap so much, and on this album he brought back the nostalgia from that golden era. Like if you love pure backpack storytelling, this is your album right here, man. Just a great body of work from front to back. At number two, I've got Run the Jewels 4 by Run the Jewels. Like politically, this album was powerful, man. This might just be the best Run the Jewels album ever, and they have one of the best discography. But this might just top everything, man. Like that, their song with 2 Chainz. That song was my ringing tone for a long, long time, man. Like Kendrick was right on To Pimp a Butterfly when he said like, people want to claim they miss when hip hop was rapping. Motherfucker, if you did, then Killer Mike will be platinum. Like I agree 100%, man. Like people also tend to people tend to overlook LP criminally also, man. Like he might just go down as the most skilled lyricist producer of all time. At number one, I've got Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs, man. When I reviewed this album, I gave it a 4.48 over 5, and 2 days later, I felt I criminally underrated the quality of this body of work. This was the best album of 2020, man. I won't lie, man. This was there was definitely no album I listened to more in 2020 than this album. Like every time I listen to a new album, I just listen to this album next, just to see how that album will sound next to this album. Centered around the politics of semi-veteran gangster rap. His variety of cadences on this album was crazy. He was fast, he was slow, he was structured, he was haphazard, he was conscious, he was ignorant, he was funny, he was just this album had almost everything, man. Like the features too. Ah, man, don't get me started on the features, man. Like they were all-star quality. Like I feel Alchemist has already cemented his place, like he has cemented his legacy too as one of the GOAT producers. I know a lot of people will say Bandana was Freddie Gibbs' best album, but I don't agree. I disagree. I would say this album was definitely a bit better than Bandana. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's my list, man. Like the next video I'll be releasing would be a compilation of my favorite EPs and LPs of 2020. Thanks for watching. God bless and have a nice 2021.